Hi there, and welcome back to Just Callum. Today you're going to notice that we are in a different location. This is my lounge. Not outside, unfortunately, but I've got a very important video today. We're going to do a few essentials when going wild camping. So, to start off, what do you think you're going to need? First thing, almost the most important thing for wild camping. Well, it's going to be a backpack, isn't it? Now, personally, I use this. It's a Eurohike Trek 80. It's not waterproof. It's got plenty of toggles, zips, little extra pockets and stuff, and access, because it's quite big, access from the bottom as well. It's as I say, Trek 80, so it's 80 litres. Plenty of room in the actual bag for your tent, for your sleeping bag, for your food and your cooking, all that sort of thing. Really comfortable. It's got a padded back and these waist straps as well, so when walking along it does distribute the weight evenly along your back, your hips and your shoulders as well. So that's the backpack side of things. Obviously, depending on sizes of yourself and the amount of kit you're carrying, it can change to suit you personally. Next thing, probably the second most important thing when wild camping, is a tent. Now, as you have seen in many videos, I have quite a few tents. I think, if I remember correctly, I've got about 6 tents, ranging from 1-man to 4-man tents. This is the one that I use for my wild camps. I've used this an awful lot more than I expected to. It is a 1-man tent. It's called a Tiger Paw, or Tiger Paw's 1-man tent, and very compact, which is ideal. It's made by Pro Action, as you can see on there. But I will do a review on this tent, its weight capacity and setting it up and putting it down. I don't know if these tents still get made, but if they do, then absolutely 100% recommend this thing. It's brilliant. Loads of space, great size vestibule. I've used it on wild camps, I've used it on motorcycle camps. It's really, really good. Worth recommending. So, tent, very important. You can get your own tent, 2-man, 1-man. Generally, the older they are, if they're 1-man, it's fine, size-wise, for one person. But the newer ones, like the OEX Raccoon that I did recently, possibly better to have that sort of thing for a 1-man tent camp, if you've got a lot of gear as well. But yeah, brilliant little tent, and a very important tent for camping, wild camping. Other options are, of course, tarpaulins, hammocks and so forth. I will generally, because I don't generally camp in forests, I will generally go with a tent, because you've got your own little shelter rather than having to rely on trees and all that sort of jazz to set up. So and freestanding, that's the key word there. Making sure it's freestanding. That's a very important part of it. So the next thing on your list when you go wild camping is probably going to be your sleep system, isn't it? Thinking about what you're gonna take for your sleeping, how comfortable you're gonna be, how warm you're gonna be, and of course how compact it all is. So to start off, what you're sleeping in. So what I sleep in is this. This is a Berghaus Transition 200, I believe. Yep, Transition 200. But it's a comfort rating of 5 degrees. Its limit is 0, and as extreme as -15. We don't get -15 weather here in the UK, especially when I want to go camping. So negative degrees, 0 degrees is probably the most I'm ever going to camp in realistically. It compacts down really tight into your rucksack. It's a very, very good system where you can pull the toggles and pull it tight, like so, and compresses it in. The bag is a stuffing bag, so there's no need to start rolling up your sleeping bag and shoving it back in, never getting it properly in. You can just stuff it in. The material stretches and it's double stitched on the seams, so it doesn't pull apart, which is fantastic. So yes, the Transition 200, really good, very comfortable, and of course, like every sleeping bag, it opens up, zips on fully, turn to a duvet if you are a hot sleeper like myself. I've gone through a few things and tested a few things out to sleep on. I've done air mattresses, I've done self-inflating mattresses, and roll mats. By far, a roll mat is probably the most uncomfortable. 5mm of foam is nowhere near thick enough to comfortably sleep on. So I've ended up buying this. Now is the Trekology UL80. Now the Trekology UL80, it's an ultralight sleeping mat. It weighs, I would say, less than a kilogram. It is, as you can tell, very compact. Another important thing when you're going camping, especially wild camping. I have had the Trek UL50, which is like a bubble wrap design, so it keeps you off the floor, but it means your weight's evenly distributed. This is more like an actual mattress. The whole thing is 4 inches thick, so you're guaranteed to be off the floor at any one time, and it is 2 meters by 500 mil wide. Very, very comfortable. Even with a little bit of air let out, it's super comfortable. You still don't touch the floor, super comfortable, and you still don't touch the floor. Very, very compact, as I say, so brilliant to have in your pack. But that's what I use for my sleep system. There's a few other things you can use, as I say, roll mats and so forth, which can be mounted on the outside of the pack. But as I've got such a big pack, there's no need for that. So yes, Trekology UL80, another really good bit of kit to have. Other things, when you go wild camping, what do you think of? Well, you want to sleep, you want to be warm, so there's your sleep system in your tent. What else are you going to do? Well, you're going to eat, aren't you? Now, this is my cooking kit. So, I have this old OEX bag I've used to store my cooking kit. I do have saucepans and so forth, but currently they are being stored in my car camping boxes. So, I have a common gas canister. Pick those up 7-8 quid. That's just where it screws onto. But well, I've had this for about 1.5 years now, and I've just seen that another YouTube channel by the name of My Hobbies over the years is this orange pot stove. It has the adapter for cans, which I don't generally use. I use the canisters, and then it's this stove here. So you screw your canister onto that there. That just screws on like that, and then this all opens out, and then you have your feet that fold out too, like so. So a brilliant little stove set. You put your pan on top. That sits. The only drawback with this is you have to have a decent bit of flat ground to put it on, but apart from that, it's brilliant. So really, really good bit of kit from Amazon. I think it was 15-20 quid, not expensive at all. And as I say, it's been going for well over a year, probably over 1.5 years now, definitely. So worth investing in. Yeah, you don't want your bit of cooking kit to go wrong and break when you're out in the middle of nowhere, because you will be hungry. And there's nothing worse than eating dry pasta. Well, there's a few things worse, but I would recommend eating dry pasta at the best of times. So, little cooker, brilliant to have. Now, the other thing you might want to consider getting with this little set you must have. So you have your gas canister, you have your gas canister and cooker set. The other thing you want to consider getting is one of these. This is essentially a windbreak for your cooker. Now, it's really important to keep your wind away from your fire and keep your fire hot, and it means that you're guaranteed your stove will cook nice and quickly, heat up nice and quickly. This one was an OEX one. It only has 6 sides, but you don't need anything more really if you're just cooking in front of yourself. But it's just to stop the wind from blowing at your fire. Okay, so imagine you're out there wild camping. You've had your dinner, you've got your tent set up, your sleeping bag and your airbed are all blown up, ready to go to bed. What's the one thing you're going to want when it starts to get dark? That's right, a light. I personally use this, a Coleman. Now, I don't know the brand name. I picked it up from Go Outdoors for, I think it was 25 quid. It's very bright, as you can tell. Sorry, I just blinded you. But it has different settings, so I can show you the flashing setting. And it's got a red light setting, high light, and low light setting as well. Little switch on top. It's brilliant. The front flips down, so if you ever need the toilet in the middle of the night, you can see where you're walking. And of course, straps on your head. Nice and simple. There's another one that I use, which is an emergency. There's an emergency headlight I use as well, which is this tiny little thing. This is a Nebo. I think this is the 400, if I remember rightly. 400 lumen, absolute tiny. And actually, if you have a baseball cap, which I currently don't. If you have a baseball cap, this little clip here opens up and you can slip it on the front of your baseball cap, and it means you can just kind of have it on the front there, and that also adjusts with a good range of motion. This is rechargeable. Rather than replacing the batteries, you recharge the battery on this. So definitely worth looking into them as well. Really good company, Nebo, for lights. Now the last thing you're going to want is emergency stuff. So yeah, you may have your first aid kit, Amazon, eBay, Boots, or like Sainsbury's, Tesco's. You can usually get a first aid kit from there. But other things you might think of which you don't necessarily end up using are spare clothes. Now, you don't need anything plush or expensive. Personally, I have this old Crag Hoppers jumper from, I think I got it from a charity shop about 5 years ago or so. Just an extra layer in case I get cold in the middle of the night. I always take an extra beanie as well, just in case it gets colder than expected. And you always pack extra pants and socks, without question. It is not worth risking it. For the little amount of space they take up, it's not worth risking needing and not having pants and socks in the when you're wild camping. Okay, so that's pants and socks. The other thing, which we get lots in here in the UK, is rain. Now, personally, because it rains so much here, I have always carried a Pack-A-Mac. This is Storm Pack-A-Mac. It's completely waterproof. It's breathable, lightweight, so on and so forth. But it's taped seams, and it's same thing again, nice and compact. Not going to take up much space. I'd rather wear one of these than get saturated. It's miserable being wet and not being able to get dry. I also carry a poncho, which has toggles all around the exterior of it. Obviously the head in the middle, and then if you need to, you can take it off, tighten the head right up, tuck it into itself, and then use those toggles and make a tarpaulin for an emergency situation. I would also highly advise taking some paracord. Obviously water, plenty of water, very essential when going wild camping. Make sure someone knows where you're going. So make sure not only do they know where you're going, they know how long you're going to take to get there, and when you expect to be back as well. Very important. If anything goes wrong, you've got a guaranteed someone who's going to ask questions, and you'll be helped out there. Brilliant. So hopefully it's been nice and informal, based on what you need to go wild camping. As I say, you'll want your bag, you're going to want your tent, your sleeping bag, your air mat, head torches, all your spare clothes, your cook set, food obviously, and some waterproofs. Now other things may include a pillow, extra tent pegs, a waterproof casing for your backpack, a foldable chair, but all of these things are not necessarily vital. Something you may want to consider going forward as well will be a portable charger for your phone, in case of emergency as well. Please let me know in the comments whether there's something you use that I don't use that I can learn from, or other people in the comments may be able to learn from. And of course, please let me know if there's something that I've used that you think is unnecessary. Either way, thank you so much for watching. Please like the video, please subscribe and turn your little bell on as well, your notification bell, and I'll catch you on the next one.